Hello, everyone. I am glad to have so much feedback about our last topic, which was toxic jobs. It's important that we have these tough conversations, and I'm going to be giving tips every single day because we've got to turn things around. If you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right. And this is why today's topic came up very loud in my ear. Even though I was going to discuss toxic people, I decided to start with you because your your brain is giving you a really hard time, especially as you're trying to step into new spaces, trying to do new things, trying to create new goals for yourself, trying to reach new heights. And my job is to help you bridge the gap between your career aspirations and a quality life outside that place. And the way you're walking around with these negative thoughts in your head, you are getting in your own way. So before we talk about everybody else, let's talk a little bit about you. It's Dr. Tony, your board certified physician, certified executive coach, and I am here to help you build a life you want unapologetically so you can actually enjoy the things you have built for yourself that you've worked on all your life. One of the things you've done is build a wall around yourself as a protection, but it's starting to be to your detriment. You know how I know? Because you're the only thing in the way between where you want to be and where you're headed right now. You're just not there because of the way you speak to yourself. So I want to give you some understanding about automatic negative thoughts. We call them ants, ANTS. Let me put this up here just in case. Sorry, y'all. Technology. Gotta love it. ANTS. Automatic negative thoughts are very common. Now, people tend to talk about these in terms of imposter syndrome. And of course, anybody who's struggling with any kind of imposter syndrome will tell you that this is something that they fight with all the time. But I feel like most people stepping into a new arena, doing new things, transitioning careers, starting a new job, these are things that happen to all of us. Giving a speech in a new crowd, these are the things that will keep you from feeling confident, feeling nervous, or taking the bull by the horns and really doing a great job. And if you can get your mind wrapped around what is happening to you inside, your chances of knocking it out the park are much better. So let's at least know what this is. I'm going to start with one that I think comes up a lot and you don't even know it's an automatic negative thought: all or nothing thinking. This is a great time of year to talk about it because everybody wants to set weight loss goals at this time of year. And the minute you go and break your plan, right? You go and bite a piece of candy or a donut or have something sweet that is not on your fitness plan, or you skip a day at the gym. What's the first thing most people do? They say, oh, I might as well just throw this whole week away and I'll start on Monday. Excuse me? Every time you take a bite of something, you don't have to quit. You could definitely just say, okay, I made a mistake and move on. No big deal. But you beat yourself up instead, and then you just throw the whole thing away. Automatic negative thoughts include all or nothing thinking. If any of us have remembrance of dating, this was another example of when all or nothing thinking will make you want to throw the whole project away. You have a bad interaction with somebody, you decide, you know what, I'm not even going to date anymore. Just throw the whole thing away. So I don't want to leave out that most common one because we do it more than we think. And if we have a bad experience, we're very likely not to want to do something again. So all or nothing thinking is an automatic negative thought. News. Number 2, labeling. Just because those people over there aren't that buddy with you doesn't mean that there's a negative thing happening. We tend to want to label things and not even know if it's true or not. We'll say something negative about ourselves, like you drop a cup of coffee. Oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. I'm so clumsy. You made a mistake. It's not a big deal, but you don't have to label everything as a negative, is what I'm saying. You don't have to go overboard. Don't give yourself a hard time when you're just human. It's okay. Catastrophe. Everything's a catastrophe. This is another example. You're just so grandiose in the way you speak that you tend to give yourself a hard time. You go to the worst case scenario. You think, if I make a mistake, the world's going to end. They're never going to invite me back. They're never going to see me as the expert. It's not true. You're human. It's okay. learn from the mistake and stop making everything a big catastrophe. It's not that serious. You should give yourself a break. Mind reading and fortune telling are probably two of the most common. You think you know what's going to happen, so you either do or don't do something. Okay. I'm not going to apply for the job because I'm not going to get it anyway. You know how often I hear that kind of stuff? It's nonsense, but in your head, if you don't try, then you can't fail, so you don't do it, right? Mind reading. Also, back to the break room. Oh, they're not talking to me. They must be mad at me. You're just inserting information that's not even true, and you have no data to back it up. So mind reading and fortune telling, they can get us in a lot of trouble because we make assumptions when we shouldn't, and we also attach a negative connotation to something, and people aren't even thinking about you. You're walking around with these negative thoughts that start to restrict how you move and interact with other people, and that can create a real problem. So knowing that this is an automatic negative thought is probably going to help you avoid making that mistake. Minimizing. So someone says to you, oh my goodness, I've been wanting to talk to you. I've been reading all of your work. You're fantastic. And oh, I like your glasses, right? You immediately try to downplay what they say. Oh, you must not mean me. My work's not that great. Don't do it, ladies. Don't minimize your work. Don't minimize your standing in the community. You know, if someone gives you a compliment, say thank you and just shut up. It's okay. Don't minimize when things are going well. So if these sound like you, let me know, because these are the ones that I know come up an awful lot. Another one that I don't think I remember to write down is comparison. Oftentimes people will compare, like an unfair comparison. You'll look at somebody who's been doing something a really long time and give yourself a hard time, like, oh, I must not be X because they're way ahead of me. It's unfair comparison. One of the best examples I can give you is I do mentoring a lot for Peloton. In my Peloton community, I've been on the bike. I have 8,000 miles or more on my bike. I haven't been on in a while because of just some issues with my hands after my pregnancy. But man, let me tell you something. If you get on a Peloton bike and you think you're going to race some of these people, you're out your mind. You have no idea what kind of fitness level these folks have. You're just a new person stepping into the arena and you're used to being fit, but it's not a fair comparison. You have no idea. Some of these people are literally athletes. Some of these folks are professional cyclists and runners who, you know, they just ran a marathon yesterday. So even if you do beat them, it's false numbers. It's not real. Try that next week, you know, after they get over that race. So don't discount the effects of having these negative thoughts, these minimizing thoughts, these all or nothing thinking. I know ruins a lot of lives. So, yeah, exactly. Right. I know your guys are laughing now, but tell me which ones you know you've done before. I think we've all done them. If we're honest, we've done them. We've done this before, but just know that it's normal. You shouldn't draw a lot of conclusions from having a bad day or making a mistake. And I just want to make sure that you're not your own worst enemy, which is typically why a lot of women are burning out. You've got all this stuff swirling in your head and you're spending a lot of time focusing outward instead of inward. And this is why you are frazzled, your sleep is terrible, you feel worn down, you feel frustrated. A lot of that is you not, comparison. And I wonder what category it's in. You know, sometimes we don't know what all the effort is that someone might have put into their career or their plans in their life or what leg up they had or the people they knew. Sometimes we're 1 degree of separation from someone else. And so we don't know that we shouldn't give up when we compare ourselves to somebody who had a very big head start. So just remember that this only hurts you. And if we don't get a plan for how we're going to change how we approach this, we're going to be in trouble. I did write a book. One of the things you can do is work on your affirmations. You have to affirm yourself. It starts with you. It always does. If you want, you can't wait for other outside parties to recognize your greatness, recognize your prowess, your intelligence, your skill set. You have to big yourself up first. So I believe strongly that how you speak to yourself is a big part of your transformation. So I wrote a book about it. Dr. Tony, drtonysbook.com. You can purchase my book, Reprogram Your Mindset, 100 Winning Quotes and Affirmations for High Performers. This book is just to help you face the parts that you don't want to face. You need to face the pieces of you that you neglect, the secrets you keep, the negative way you see yourself in the world in those certain areas. You might be really bold at work, but not so bold in your personal life, or when you're dealing with some people who used to treat you poorly growing up. So you always, around certain times of the year or during certain types of events, you always react the same way because you have a lot of negative thoughts. You've got to find a way to turn that away around. And one of the ways you can do that is to have a good practice of speaking positive over your own life on a regular basis. And I do mean daily, because those thoughts come at you a mile a minute. And it's really important that you have something that you're going to replace it with, so that you're not constantly being your own worst enemy. So get the not automatic negative thoughts, write down which ones you think are your main problem, and start to figure out how you're going to replace that with something positive. And sometimes it's a good idea to realize that they probably came from something traumatic, or they came from something in your past. So it's not new. It's just that it's starting to affect you more now that you're stepping into a new space. All right. We will talk about toxic people tomorrow. Take care. See you soon. It's Dr. Tony, your board certified physician, certified executive coach, and I am here to help you build a life that you actually deserve and want. But we're going to have some tough conversations. So that's why I'm here, coming in, coaching you on a regular basis to give you the nudge from somebody you know has lived through it and helped people through it who are 10 times better to show for it now. So you can do the same. Talk to you soon. It's not that bad. Let's have this private conversation so in public you shine.